So today we are going to discuss about how to organize the data pane and some default settings and some of the other features in Tableau. So how to combine data fields. So the first topic is how to organize the data pane and usage of some other calculation fields and how to edit a calculation field and also how to see the default settings. So whenever we connect to any data, so let's say if I'm connecting to sample superstore data, so a data pane will be created. So where you will be able to see the list of tables and list of columns. Sorry. Okay. So where we will be able to see the list of tables and columns. So here you can see. So this is called as data pane. So let me just take a snapshot. So this part which is highlighted, so that is called as data pane. So here it will be sorted based on the tables. So by default, it will be arranged by the table names. So what are these tables? Let's say I will connect to one particular file. If I go to so let me create a file. So where I have the data like this. So this is one particular data, and this I will name it as table A, and this I will name it as table B. Since in this I have customer name or employee name, let's say employee name and salary. So salary is 20,000, this much. So this is Ajay, Vijay, Raju. So this much is the salary. So I will save this file. Save. Okay, let's connect to that particular file. So that particular file has two sheets. So if you see in this particular file, book 2, so you see table A and table B. Here I have two columns, and in table A I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns. So I should be able to connect to that particular file. So click on Microsoft Excel and go to D drive and go to fourth batch, click on book 2. So there you will be able to see those two tables. So this is the same way. So whenever you connect to any particular Oracle database, yeah. So whenever you connect to Oracle database or SQL database, so in Oracle or SQL, you will be having schemas. So inside schemas, let's say you have A and B and C schemas. Let's say you have selected A schema. In the selected A schema, you will be having table 1, table 2, table 3 like this. Okay, so here, if you connect to one basic Excel, whatever tabs that you see here, so you will be able to see each and every tab as a table. So here I should be able to join or do some combination. And here I can select. So what is the thing that you can combine? So if you see here, so here you have the data of customer name and contact name. So this is the only two names which you can join. So others are like address, city, which you cannot join with the table P. So employee name is there. So name and name you can join. So let's combine that. So I'm gonna join with the customer name. So in table A, it is customer name. So let's go back to Excel. Yeah, select customer name and join with employee name. Okay, now if I go into the dashboard, so it will show me table A separately and table B separately. So this is called as data pane. So whatever tables that I am connected to, so it will sort according to the tables. So I can see the list of columns that are there in table A, and I can see the list of columns that are there in table B. In the same way, if I go to sample superstore, so they have also connected to Excel file, so in which they have three different tabs. So if I open this sample superstore file, okay, so I have three different tabs. So orders is the main table, which has all the columns information, which has the details of which has the details of all the customer names and the orders that are made by customer and where is that particular superstore location. So everything is there in orders table, and other informations like people. So there, I mean, every region has a manager, so regional manager information. So in orders table, we only have the details of region. So if you go to the region, yeah, so here you can see region. But here in this particular table, you don't have any information about which region it is. Who is the manager for that region? So that information is not available in orders table. For that, what we will do, we will try to fetch that information from people table. So here we have the same regions, whatever we have in orders table. So the list of central, east, south, west. So this list is present in people table also. West, east, central, south. So all four regions are available, and the regional manager for that particular region is also available. So with this table, I want to find out the regional manager for each and every region. In the same way, whether the order is returned or not. So that information is available in returns. So what they have done is they have made a combination. So from orders table, they are combining people with region. Okay, by using region, so they are fetching the information of regional manager from people's table, and they are fetching the whether the order is returned or not. That information they are fetching it from returns table. So if we go to this sample superstore Excel file, so they are combining this table with orders table with people table by region. So basically what it will do is when you combine, so what is the who is the regional manager for central? Can anyone tell me who is the regional manager for central? Nazreen, can you tell me who is the regional manager for central in this table? Is my screen visible? Yeah, so in this table, can you tell me who is the regional manager for central? Yeah, perfect. So what Tableau is doing is, so for central, so we have Roxanne Rodriguez is the person. So he is the regional manager. So by doing that, so Tableau will fetch this information for all the regions so that you can see all the information of central region. So that is why we combine these two tables. So if you see the combination here, so they are combining orders table with people table based on the region column. So why we are combining that? To fetch this information to find out who is the regional manager for central region. And you can align that. So let me show you. So let me show you how to connect to. Yeah. So here we have orders and superstore. So if I take region, and I can also take regional manager, so I'm able to get that. And apart from that, if I want to add customer name, or I also want to know for each and every state who is the manager. Okay, so for all the states, he is the manager. So that information also we are able to fetch. But basically, what is the information which is there in people table? It is having only region related information and who is the manager for that region. But when we are getting that same information in this table, so we can map it to other columns also. So we can use it for other columns as well. So with that, I'm able to find out who is the manager for all the states. And Chuck Maggie is the manager for all the states. So to find out that, it will be useful. So that is the reason they have combined these tables, and these are called as noodles. Okay, so now let's go back to the topic. So Tableau, what it does is, so now we are going to see how this data pane is arranged. So in this data pane, you will be able to see the list of tables first, and it will be showing the list of columns in that each and every table. So now let's see, we can change that order. So now it is sorted based on the grouping based on the data source table. But I don't want to sort it based on the data source table. So if you go to the real time, so you might be having hundreds of columns. So you can have the folders structure. So when you have hundreds of columns, it is very difficult to find out the actual column that you need. So what we do is we create folder structures. So let me show you some folder structure. So let's say I want to keep ship mode and ship date in one particular folder. So create or go to folders, create folder, and write it as ship related information. So this is not related to users. So these are developer activities. It is for our sake to understand where exactly these columns are. So to maintain this particular data pane, we should know how to maintain that. So basically by default, every time it will be based on the data source table. So it will be showing you the list of columns which are there. So if you see here, so it is showing you the order of or all these columns, all these headers it is showing. If you go to people table, how many number of columns are there? There are two columns. So if you go back to Tableau, so here you will be able to see two columns. In the same way, you will be able to see in returns two columns. So you are not able to see that region column. Why? Because region column is already there in tables, orders table. So that is why it is not showing in the people table. Okay, so that is how we can group the folders. And let's say we have created these many worksheets. So these many worksheets I have created, and I'm not using all the columns here. So I might not be using all the columns. So to improve the performance, so there is an option called hide the fields. To improve the performance, so this is very important point. So when you're asked to tell the how to improve the performance, so this is one of the best point to hide the unused fields. So while extracting or while retrieving the data, So it will not be considering the hidden columns. So it will not be considering the hidden columns. So that's why it will improve the performance. So now let's try hiding the columns. So here there is an option called hide all unused fields. So if you see, there are these many columns you can see. So if I click on that option, so there will be many columns which are not being used in the entire dashboard. So those will be removed. So you can see there are a lot of columns which are hidden. And if you want to show those hidden columns or hidden fields, so click on show hidden fields. So if you see this postal code, order ID, order date, these are grayed out. So you can't directly use. So you can't directly take it out. Why? Because these are hidden. So we are just showing it. So if you want to unhide these particular columns, what you can do is right click on this, click on unhide. Then only it will be it will be highlighted. So now it is grayed out, right? So if I want to unhide that particular thing, so it will be normal. So segment. So like this, if you want to use those columns again, so unhide those columns and you can use. Until unless you unhide, so you can't use it. Even if I double click on that, so it is not taking that particular column into consideration. So if you have hidden some columns and you want to use those columns, what you need to do is click on show hidden fields. So then all columns will be shown, and whatever columns you want to use it again, click on that and right click and select unhide. And you can do hide all unused fields again. So this way we can hide the unused fields, which is very important topic. And okay, so we can do group by folder and group by data source table. So that we have discussed, and how to create folders and how to add columns to that particular folder. So now let's see. So ship related. So we have added ship related information in one particular folder. So let's go back to that. Group by folder. So select, let's say these two, and right click on this, click on folder and create folder. Customer name details. So this is just for our sake, for developer sake, is to understand where all the names are. It's customer name related information. Everything I will put it in this folder. So this is just to maintain the data pane. So that is about create folder. So if you want to add any column into that folder, you can just drag and put it in that folder so that it will be added to that folder. Okay, so now let's see how to create a combined field in Tableau. So let's say you have some different names. Let's say customer name. So customer name, you have a separate name. So sometimes what you get is you get first name and last name separately. So let's rename this. So this is my first name, and this column is last name. Okay, so instead of writing a calculation, so yesterday we have written a calculation for email ID. So to combine this thing, like we have concatenated basically. So we have used this calculation to combine last name, first name, and the org name. But here in Tableau, there is one more option. You don't need to create any calculation. Instead of that, you can select those two columns and right click on that. Go to create and click on combine field. So it will create a combined field where it will combine these two fields. And here it is separating it based on the comma, and that you can specify. So I did combined field. So if you want to separate it with comma and space, you can specify that, or you want to separate it with dot, you can mention. So this is without writing any calculation. So you can see it got changed. So comma, it's a comma separated is changed to dot separated. So instead of dot, if you want to have a line like this, so click on this. So you can see a line. So that is how you can combine two different fields. And now let's see. So this is, I mean, I have used subcategory and category over here, and hide and yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. So let's, yeah, it will not happen. So I'll show you here. So let's take this sample superstore only. Let me save. Logical way. So let me connect to new Tableau file. Okay. So I'm going to connect to that particular file. Click on Excel. Yeah. So when I connect to that Excel, so I can see orders table separately, people table separately, and returns table separately. So whenever you connect to sample superstore directly from the desktop, so you are able to see they have combined it already. So they have done the combination already. So if you go edit data source, so they have combined these three tables by using a logical layer. So this is called logical layer, and they have used relationship models. And this is also called relationship model, and they have combined it based on these noodles. So these are called as noodles. These lines that you see, these are called as noodles. So now I'll show you how to connect these three tables, and I will show you how these are interconnected. So if we go to this Excel file, so what they're actually trying to do is, so they are trying to get all the information into one place. So let's say orders table is there. So this regional manager information is not there presently. So regional manager is information is available in the other table where it has only region and regional manager. But I want to fetch same regional manager information into this table. So to get that, so in Excel you can do VLOOKUP and all, but in Tableau, so there is a direct option where you can combine these two columns. So what is the advantage of adding that particular column? What is the advantage of combining fields? So basically the advantage is, so you're trying to get this information into this table. So I will be able to know who is the regional manager for this central. So it's actually this Roxanne Rodriguez. So I can get this information here. So likewise for East, who is the manager, for South, who is the manager, I can get that information into one place. So that is why we combine these two tables. So now let's start with this. So how to combine region in orders table and region in people table. So let's go back to our Excel. Sorry, Tableau. Okay. So here I have orders table and here I have people table. So I have to combine with region column. So let me take orders. So when I take orders into place, so I can see the list of columns and whatever the data that is available. So whatever data that I see here, so that same data I can see here. Okay, so next I will take people column. So here you can see noodle is appearing. So there is a combination that we can make. So I'm going to combine orders table with people table. So with what you want to combine? So we have to specify that. So there is a common column which is there in orders table and people table. So that is region. So region in orders table and region in people table. So I need to select that. So region, so search for region, select, and from people table. So this is from orders table and this is from people table. So say okay. Okay, so now that these are combined, so now let's see what all we can do. So with that, I'm able to see, so I can see regional manager. And I also can see regional manager, and I also can see regions. And so basically this is the information, same information which is available in people table. So by getting that information into orders table, okay, so by getting that regional manager information, so regional manager information, we are getting it here. So by getting that, so we can also use some other columns. State-wise, also he is the manager. So if he is the manager for East region, so in East region, whatever the states are there, so he will be manager for those states also. So that information also we can get it. So by using this, so we can get that extra information. So for our, we can compare with the other columns which are there. And now let's see how to combine with returns table. So the common column in returns table is order ID. So order ID is the common column. So I need to combine with order ID. So now let's see how we can combine that. Returns table. So it will show you that noodles again. So click on that. And sometimes Tableau will automatically take if the name matches. If the column name matches, Tableau will automatically pick it. So this is from orders table, order ID from orders table, and order ID from returns table will be combined. So you can get whether the order is returned or not. So order ID and return. So these many orders are returned basically. So that is the information you can get it. So with this you can combine if so what is the order ID and what is country location of that order ID. So with extra columns you can get those information. So most of the orders are written from United States and there are no orders which are written from Canada. So you can read the data for the extra columns. So in returns, it has only order ID and return. So by getting that return into orders table, so we can have more information. So that is why we combine. So this is also called as a logical layer. Yeah. So anyway, so this topic we are going to discuss in upcoming sessions as well. So I'm going to take some few examples. I'm going to take a sample Excel file, which will have some 3 or 4 records. So with that, you will be able to clearly understand how do we do joins and all. So now let's go back to a topic where we need to discuss about default settings. So there will be default settings for every measure and dimension. So now we are going to discuss So let's take sales. So when I double click on this, or when you take into rows, or when you take into any shelf, so it will be by default, it is taking sum as an aggregation. So that is a default setting assigned to sales. So basically for every measure and dimension, there will be certain settings will be there. So if you want to modify, we can modify. So by default, sum is an aggregation, but later if I want to change the aggregation, so these are the options that are available. So instead of doing sum every time, I want to do average, or I want to do median. So this is the manual thing where you can select, but by default settings, if you want to change, so you need to click on this, go to default properties, click on aggregation and change here. So I have changed it to average. So whenever you go to any new sheet and drag that particular sales into any of the marks code, or rows or column shelf, so every time it will be average only. In the entire dashboard, whenever you drag, it will be average only. So that is how it will be designed. So default properties means in the entire dashboard. So if you are mostly using sales as an average only, so then you can change the default settings instead of changing every time. So every time when you drag normally, it will come as sum, but later you have to change it to sum or average, however you want to. But you know that you are going to use this as an average every time. So then it's better you change it here, change the default properties to sum or average like this. Okay, so now let's discuss. There are other properties as well. So if you want to give some information about this sales, so this is the amount. This is the amount spent by each customer when purchasing products from Superstore. So I'm just giving a comment. So when you hover on that, so you can see that comment. So this is the amount spent by each customer when purchasing products from Superstore. So if you are developing some dashboard and if you are sharing that work with your colleagues or to the peers, so they should be able to understand without any explanation. So that should be a self-help kind of thing. So if you can give the information about what that dimension or what that measure exactly is, so you can specify that in the comments. So that is also available in the default properties. So now let's go to the other option, color. For color, what we will do is, so let's take subcategory sales and use tree map. So a color is being selected. If you see, every time whenever you create, blue gradient is getting selected. So I can change that gradient. So instead of that, I can specify, instead of blue color, you can specify some brown. Say okay. Okay, so whenever you create the similar type of uh, data or similar type of information that you are trying to create, subcategory. So every time it will now come in orange color, sorry, brown color. So this way you can change the color. And now let's see. So number formatting. So let me show this numbers. Mm, Put it on label. So it is currently showing you $2,154 as an average. Okay, so it is not showing any decimals or it is not showing any dollar symbols. So by default, there are some settings to not to show these dollar symbols and decimal places on. So we can change that specific formatting by clicking on number format. So you can specify every time whenever you drag, you can specify to show decimal places or to show uh, the dollar symbol. So you can specify currency standard, say okay. So every time it will be showing with rupee symbol. So number format. So you can select United States. If you select United States, it will show you dollar symbol like this. So if you go to the, so every time it will show you dollars and two decimals. So whatever default properties that you're selecting. So in standard, it will be showing two decimals and dollar symbol. Or you don't want to show decimals, or you want to show one decimal, you can specify that. So these are all the changes that you can do. And not only that, you can specify display units. So if you want to show thousands, so K, so it will divide it by 1000 and it will put K in the suffix like this. And you can add the prefix and suffix manually and decimal places. So scientific is the e to the power of value, which we won't use much. So it is just showing you the scientific value. And so there will be sometimes you're going to do divisions. So you might need to multiply it with 100. So this will show you percentage. So it's basically multiplying it with 100. So this is not suitable for this sales. So I'm just telling you. So whenever you have some percentage calculations, so if you want to multiply it with 100 and show the percentage, so it will multiply with 100 and it will put the percentage symbol. And here you can specify manually. So if you want to, so however you want to show. So if you remove after dot, if you remove this, so you can show like this. So this is like a coding part. So other options you can directly select, but here you can specify the coding thing. So if you remove this percentage, it will be divided with 100 and show how many decimals if you want. So after dot, you can specify 3 zeros to show 3 decimals. And you can also add suffix as well. Number format, instead of prefix, you can put suffix. So like this you can do. So click on edit. So this way we can use different default properties. And now let's see the other options. So aggregation we have seen. So we can change it to sum, average, min, max, all these things. And now we are going to discuss how to do the total. So let's change this default properties, number format, keep it automatic. Okay, so now let's select sales, subcategory and category. And let's take sum. So if you want to show the subtotals, okay, so this is the sum of furniture, so which is 7,54,748, and the sum of office supplies, which is 7,31,893. To show the subtotals, go to analysis, go to table layout, sorry, go to totals, show column grand totals. So this one will show you all the sum, all the rows, which is 23,26,534. And if you want to show the subtotals, go to totals, add all subtotals. So it will show you add all, it will show you the subtotals. Okay, so this total also, you can specify how to do this total. You want to do that based on the average, or if you want to do based on the sum. So you can change that. So total using sum. So by default, total is happening based on the sum. So it is just doing the sum of all the subcategories. But if you want to do other way around, like if you want to do something different, take average. So remove the sales and put it again. Okay, so it is showing you the average of all the, even if you take sum. Okay, so it is just showing you the average value of all these four items. So 1,88,687 is the average. It is not showing the sum. Why? Because we have specified it here to show total using average and not on sum. And if you select minimum, so in all these four items, whichever is the minimum value, it will show you that. So go here and select sum. So what is the minimum value in all these four? Akhil, can you tell me what is the minimum value in these four items that I have selected? Yeah, yeah. So according to the calculation that we have selected, so it is showing us the minimum value from these four items. Okay, so Bhaskara, can you tell me what is the minimum value in these four items that I have selected? Yeah, correct. So 150,745 is the minimum value. So that is how, that is the importance on what basis you want to do the total. So now let's see. Now let's select the maximum. Yeah, so let's remove this and put it again and take the sum. Okay. So Nazrin, can you tell me what is the maximum value in all these four items? Yeah. So it will do the comparison between these four items and it will show you the fourth one. Okay, Rajesh, can you tell me what is the maximum value in these four items?